Hey everyone, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. I just want to go over in this video some basic things once again that you need to be preparing for when I say stock up on food, what I'm talking about, what it looks like to become a little more self-sufficient. I'm going to talk at you at a mile a minute and just kind of go over just basics. If you're new to preparedness or new to prepping, you're going to want to pay attention. If you're well acquainted with prepping or preparedness, listen along, and I'm going to preach to the choir because I'm going to go over basic stuff, but I'm going to fire a whole bunch at you, and you can see if you're kind of missing anything or if something is something new that you haven't heard or some ideas. I do have some unique takes on some things, so you know me, I have strong opinions on everything, just like you do, just like you do, right? Take what I say with a grain of salt, right? All right, folks. The cornerstone to preparedness is stocking up food. Now, I do not agree with the eat what you store and store what you eat. I don't actually agree with that philosophy. What I agree with is eat what you store and store what you eat for 3 months. Okay, get a pantry, get a freezer, in addition to a refrigerator, get a pantry that has dry goods and stuff like that, stuff that you rotate every 3 months. Get a working pantry that's relatively deep of 3 months supplies for your family. Beyond 3 months, now you can stretch it out to 6 months. You can do it. It's going to be a little hard. But beyond that, I propose that you do not eat what you store, okay? I propose what you do is you get food that's going to last long-term, 5, 10, 15, or 30 years, depending on how you store it, right? Store up this food, emergency food, and I'm not talking about going out and buy a bunch of fancy, expensive buckets. I'm talking about making these things yourself, and I'm going to go over how to do it super cheap. Buckets have gotten ridiculously expensive. Mylar has gone through the roof. I'm going to walk you through some of the cheaper options that I'm kind of fiddling with. I know it's heresy, but it's cheap, it's effective, and I don't think the world's going to hold together for 30 years, so I don't care if my rice and beans last 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, if you hate me already for what I'm saying, fine. Let's go ahead. Just in the comment section, that's what it's there for. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone's free to share their opinion. All right, be nice about it, please. All right, so rice and beans. I believe that rice and beans should be the cornerstone of your long-term food storage. I believe that you should have a working pantry that you're rotating through. I believe you should have a long-term storage that is set and forget, where you can put that in place. You can put these buckets, you can put these totes together, and you don't have to worry about that for a good long while. Now, depending on how you store it, you're going to have to look after those buckets a little more frequently or a little less frequently. We'll talk about that. All right, so the regular way of doing it is buckets of just a regular bucket with a lid, or you can get one of the fancy Gamma Seal lids. It's a little more money. If you want to invest in it, go for it. But then you put a Mylar bag in there. You fill it with the rice. You fill it with the pinto beans, generally. If you want to get fancy beans, go for it. If you want to do wheat berries, you can do that. And then you heat seal the Mylar, right, and fold it in. Make sure you have the oxygen absorbers in there, and then close up the bucket. And if you do that properly, with little air in there, you get it real nice and tight, and you get the oxygen absorbers in there the proper amount, and you get a good seal, you're looking at 30 years for wheat berries, or even longer than that, rice and pinto beans or other dried beans. That's great. What should you actually be storing up? 2 pounds of rice for every 1 pound of beans is a good go-to thing. Again, there's going to be somebody in the comment section that's going to hate me for that. That's a metric that has been tossed around, which I think is a good one. Yes, you can have more beans, and you can, but I don't think you need them. And so we're talking about survival here. I think that being a little lower on the beans, being at 1 to 2 is a good metric there. Beans are a little more expensive. Rice is a little cheaper. So 2 rice for every 1 bean, okay, by weight, dry weight. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is how much rice and beans should you have. Put the rice and beans together, and basically, 2 rice, 1 bean, a pound of beans will get you 2 days. 1.5 pounds per day, generally speaking, of the dry goods. Now, I say that'll get you up to right around 2,000 calories. If you're working out in your garden, if you're doing a lot of manual labor, you're going to need more calories than that, which is why you have your canned goods. You can add canned chicken, you can add canned Spam, you can add, and you're going to add whatever you can forage from your lawn, from your garden. I swear, you will never have a cleaner garden after SHTF starts. Once the famine starts, you're going to be picking up all those dandelions. You're going to have the kids going out there and picking all the dandelion leaves, and you're going to have some wonderful salads. You're going to be pulling up those roots, and you're going to be making a little coffee out of those roots, and you're going to be doing all sorts of stuff with those dandelions because it's going to be great, okay? You're going to be harvesting everything else you can, foraging from the woods around you. If you live out in the countryside, if you're living more urbanly, you're going to steal these from everyone else's lawns that hasn't chemically treated their lawn recently. Okay? So you're going to supplement with foraged greens. You're going to supplement with whatever you can grow in the garden. You're going to supplement with whatever canned goods you're using as well. So rice, beans, 2,000 calories. Then you're going to want to go above that with your add-ons. Having soybean oil or corn oil or olive oil. Olive oil, unless you get the, don't get the virgin stuff. Get the very straight processed stuff. That will last longer. It has a longer shelf life. Don't open those bottles. As long as you leave the bottle closed, it's nitrogen purged in there. Okay, so that keeps it from exposure to oxygen. If you keep it out of light, that also will keep it from going rancid. Those are two things they're going to do. Oxygen will make it go rancid faster, much, much faster. Light will make it go rancid, and then temperature will make it go rancid. Don't let it get hot. Don't let it get warm. Try to keep it at a stable temperature that's cool. That will give you, people are going to hate me for this too, but 10 plus years. Steve, that's not what my 10 plus years for oils that are in sealed containers that are properly stored. 10 plus years. You can take me to the bank on that one. I have done it myself personally, and I've talked to other people who have as well. For processed oils, heavily processed oils, don't have any of that virgin garbage in there at all. It will go rancid much, much faster. But corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, any of the hard oils. You can also get Crisco cans or the generic version of Crisco. If you keep it refrigerated, supposedly it will last indefinitely. I guess you're probably going to want me to open up my one can of Crisco that I've had for almost 10 years now in my refrigerator. You're probably going to want me to crack that one open, aren't you? If you do, just put it in the comments down below. I don't know what I'm getting myself into here. But I do have a can, I think it's running on almost 10 years in my refrigerator. Just down in the bottom, I have room for it, so I have a couple cans of Crisco because it's a whole bunch of calories and it lasts basically indefinitely. All right, so try to avoid the freezer though, because oils in the freezer don't do quite as well, but refrigerator, good as long as they're sealed. And once again, keep them away from light. So oils are going to give you a lot of calories. They're going to give you a lot of fat. Fat is important. Some people are going to be out there saying, you need nutrition, you need all sorts of vitamins. No. The dandelions out in your yard and the fruits and vegetables that you're going to be growing in your yard are going to give you the nutrition. But people don't really die from nutrition, lack of nutrition, okay? It takes you an awful long time to die or have a debilitating illness or something like that because you have a lack of nutrition. What you will die from is a lack of calories, okay? And you will start having mental deficiencies from a lack of fat. You need fat, you need calories. That will keep you alive and functioning properly. Nutrition is good. Load up on some multivitamins, okay? Buy a bunch of multivitamins. They don't do the world best, but get some multivitamins and be planning to grow some things in your garden. Rice, beans, oil. Some protein would be nice. That'd be a nice one. But the big thing that you need to make sure you have on there is salt. If you're away from the ocean, you're going to need salt, and it's going to be hard to get salt, okay? Salt And one of my favorite things to do is I get those 7-pound jugs of chicken bouillon, which is salt and flavor. You put that with some rice and beans and a little bit of oil, and it actually tastes pretty good. So if you're worried about eating through your survival stack, get a big, couple big jugs of chicken bouillon to get you through the lean times. This is stuff that you're going to put away and you're going to eat if an emergency happens and you desperately need food, okay? If you get laid off work and you need to tap your long-term food storage, go for it. If you have another emergency that you need to tap your long-term food storage, that's what it's there for, okay? But some people out there saying, well, you'll get tired and you'll get sick of eating this kind of stuff. People who say that have not actually been in life and death situations, have not been where people have are starving to death. They do not understand how the human psychology works and how things actually function in the world. Go to the third world country, like I have. I've been to 49 countries now, and a good number of them are third world countries. And I found that when you go to the third world countries, people eat the same dang thing every single day. They eat the same thing every single day. Where's the food fatigue there? Where is it? I've seen people who eat literally, I've seen people who eat just bread, so just ground up bread, not super tasty bread, tea with milk, and then curdled goat milk, like yogurt, and that's mostly what they ate. That's mostly what they eat every day. A little bit of rice, some oil, stuff that we're basically storing, okay? That stuff. They ate that every single day for their entire freaking lives. And you know what? They all look at me and go, you like this? This is good, right? It's stuff that you and I would consider very bland, but the thing is, hunger is the best sauce, okay? As they say, hunger is the best sauce. You talk to people in survival situations, you talk to people in who have been through prisoner of war camps, who have been at in really, really rough places. They survived on practically nothing food-wise, but they were so grateful for the food that they had, and no one who's basically starving is going to turn their nose up at calories and food. You eat disgusting things when you get the opportunity when you're starving. That's what happens. The problem is that when you move into first stage of starvation or fasting mode, once your body starts shutting down, you actually lose the hunger pangs. And that's where people get the idea of food boredom from. Trust me, once you get to the other side of that, once you start running out of body fat, something changes. Something very, very primal changes. One time, way back when I was in college, just got out of college, I fasted for 44 days. Just water for 44 days. And at the end of that, something snapped. Something changed. I was actually, once I got into it, I was rather content where I was physiologically. But then towards the end, the hunger comes back, and it comes with a vengeance. If you want to read more on that, you can actually look up fasting. You can look up water fasting and how to do so safely. If you go beyond 2 or 3 days of water fasting only, be aware that there are some health considerations that are actually quite dangerous. You need to do it properly. Make sure you know what you're doing. And that's a good idea to know going into preparedness situations. So, rice, beans, oil, chicken bouillon is great. Some canned meat is wonderful for flavor and also gives you the fat and some more calories, and it's going to be a real treat for you. Other stuff, canned vegetables, are nice to have, but they are not super important. That's what your garden is for. You need to stock up stuff so that you are set for your garden. Make sure you have seeds. Make sure you have plants that are, are perennials that you don't need to plant every year, right? Make sure that you have fruit trees planted if you can get them. Make sure that you have other fruit and stuff kind of planted. There's other stuff like mint. There's Jerusalem artichokes. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can plant once and forget. Those are things that you want to have in your yard, or if you don't have a yard, you're going to want to plant those somewhere where no one else is going to look, but you're going to be able to go get access to them. That's called guerrilla gardening. Look it up. If you don't have the proper area to grow, what you can do is you can go to a park nearby or some other public space, and you can start a little mini garden that doesn't look like a garden back in the woods or something like that. That way you can go in and harvest food where other people don't know where to look. But of course, if other people figure it out, then you're going to lose that food source. All right, then there's lots of other fancy things that you can have, but what I suggest is not getting into the pre-prepared buckets. If you have a whole bunch of money and you don't have any time whatsoever, buy the pre-prepared buckets, go for it. But generally speaking, you can buy for about $600. You can buy about a year's worth of rice and beans and such. I've already done a video on, I've done several videos on that in the past. All right, so how do I do my storage right now? Like I said, I am only looking for my storage to last about 5 to 10 years. So I am vacuum sealing my rice and beans and then putting them into storage totes. Okay, is that optimal? No, it's not. Storage totes are going to keep rodents and stuff like that out of it. And then inside with a vacuum seal, that does keep the oxygen out and moisture content out. As long as it's rice, beans, wheat berries, I am thinking that is going to get me at least 5 to 10 years, which I don't think it's going to last all that long. I think I'm going to be tapping into that well before that time period. So I'd rather have more rice and beans than to have better stored 30-year rice and beans. I'd rather have twice as many rice and beans than that's 5 to 10 years stored versus half as many Mylar bagged. So if you hate me for that, go ahead and put that in the comments right next to all the other hateful comments that people are leaving right now. So there's that. What kind of meats can you get now for a good price? I think canned chicken has gone up to be a little bit expensive. There are some great deals you can get out there still on canned Spam. There was a deal that popped up on Amazon. I was able to get canned Spam for almost $2. Not generic, name brand Spam. I know, fancy stuff, for about $2. That disappeared real fast, but you can still go over to like Sam's Club and you can get the big packs of Spam, the big packs of like 6 or 8 or 10 cans of Spam, and it's something like $2.70 or so per can, or you can get the generic cans of Spam. I still grab some of those. All that's a great option. Go forward for it. You get a lot more calories than you do with the chicken. I think it's actually a better deal than the chicken cans right now. If you're going to buy the chicken cans, you still probably want to go for the 12 packs. Those are the best deal out there, but you're paying close to $3 a can. That's as much as a can of Spam, but you get a whole lot more nutrition, a lot more calories out of a can of Spam. And for me, do I want to open up a can of chicken in the apocalypse or a can of Spam in the apocalypse? I want the can of Spam, and I think I'll be able to trade it for more as well. Plus the lids are more durable. The canned chicken is less durable on that. So that's kind of my thoughts on food storage. Have a rotating pantry, great. You can also vacuum seal pasta. So you can vacuum seal spaghetti noodles really, really well. You can vacuum seal macaroni is less useful, less good at that because got all the holes in them, but I still did that anyway. And you can vacuum seal other pastas. If you keep them dry inside there, they should last for a very, very long time. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the vacuum sealing, and it's just a lot cheaper to buy those big rolls of vacuum sealing. You can just sit there and just pop those things out. Yes, Mylar is not too much trouble. Yes, Mylar is not super, super expensive, but it is a little pricey. And like I said, when the costs come down to it, I just rather have more food for short term rather than long-term less food. All right, folks, then you just stack the totes up to the ceiling, and I think that that's a great way to go with that. Totes seem less prepper-ish than buckets. That's also my thought. Things that you want to stock up on for your garden. You want to stock up on potting soil, cow manure, if you get the bags or you get that kind of thing. Stock up on firewood. Make sure you have propane for heat. Firewood and propane for heat. Propane is going to be great for cooking as well. You want to be able to build yourself a rocket stove. Make sure you have that knowledge, and make sure you have some cinder blocks in order to build yourself a rocket stove. Preferably a 2-burner rocket stove, okay? Make sure you have if you just have a bunch of cinder blocks and know-how, okay, you can build yourself a rocket stove that's going to burn fuel, wood, and brush and all that kind of stuff super efficiently outside, so you don't have to use your precious propane. You don't have to use your precious firewood. You can cook sticks and everything like that in the rocket stove, and you'll be able to cook outside when the weather is half decent, and when you absolutely need to, you can go inside and cook on the propane. Those are some thoughts there I got for you. That's a whirlwind tour of a bunch of things. If you disagree with on certain things, go ahead and put them down in the comments down below. If you agree with things, I would appreciate you putting down comments there too. Hopefully that was helpful for some of you new folks, and hopefully for some of you folks who have been around the block a little bit. Hopefully you heard something new from me. I do have some opinions. So, all right, folks, if this video was useful for you, you might want to check out this video right here. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Steve Poplar out.